I started the show talking about as great as Patrick Mahomes is. We do this all the time. We never give support systems enough credit. Mm-hmm. And if writing didn't matter more than actors, and that's what makes a good movie, it's not the actor. If it was the actor, then Marlon Brando wouldn't have been in 8 awful movies. Then Tom Hanks would always be in a great movie. Tom Hanks is as good as his director, which is often Steven Spielberg, in the writing. That's what I've said. Quarterback, you got to have an O-line. You got to have a play caller. And Mahomes is a great talent. He's like Allen Iverson. He'd be a Hall of Famer regardless of who's around him. I mean, certain guys like that are great. But he wouldn't have the titles. He wouldn't have all the wins. He couldn't win in college because he didn't have the coach and didn't have the players. Couldn't win in the Big 12. Oklahoma quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, won a lot more games than Patrick Mahomes in college. Is Baker better than Patrick? No. Baker had the better coach, and Baker had the better O-line, and Baker had the better receivers. So Baker was a better college quarterback than Mahomes because of the support system. So just to show, so we started talking about Hall of Fame, and I said Canton or Cant out. Just to, like, let's take some current stars, and I'll tell you if I think they're Hall of Famers yet or not. I'm not guessing on what they do, on what they've done so far. Canton or Cant out. Here we go.
We're starting with Odell Beckham Jr.
Cant out. Okay, last 4 years, he's given me 670 yards. He's missed 23 games. He's a Hall of Fame talent, but he's not on the field enough. In the last 4 years, he's just not available. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Ezekiel Elliott.
He's not a Hall of Famer. Cant out. He's the only running back in NFL history whose yards have declined in each of his first 5 seasons. So he is a declining player whose first 2 years look like a Hall of Fame lock, but doesn't feel like a Hall of Famer to me now.
Julio Jones.
Canton. No question. He has the most receiving yards per game in NFL history, 95. Most seasons over 100-plus receiving yards per game. Arguably the best receiver in the NFL for most of a 10-year period. Absolute first-ballot lock.
Travis Kelce.
Chiefs tight end, Canton. He's already in. 1,000-plus receiving yards in 5 straight seasons. He is the first tight end in NFL history who has done that. I still think he's in his prime. I think he has 3 or 4 huge years left. I always kind of thought, Kellen Winslow was the best tight end I've ever seen. I think it's now Travis Kelce.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, Cant out. Again, couple of good years is not a Hall of Fame career. He's had fewer than 10 sacks in each of his last 2 years. He's never had a sack in the playoffs. He's never won a playoff game. He's a remarkable talent, but he needs 2 or 3 more great years.
Is Patrick Mahomes a Hall of Famer?
I said he needs 1 more year. By the way, Ken Stabler and Joe Theismann had an MVP and a Super Bowl title. And Stabler finally got in 30 years after retiring, and Theismann's not in. So I think he needs another great year, and then we can start the discussion. But he's like 120th in passing yards, 113th in wins. Yes, he's great. But, can we let's make sure we all understand how great the Hall of Fame in football is. Great alone. You got to give me some numbers. You got to give me some years, not just great.
Okay, Von Miller.
Very, very close. I can make the argument Cant out. Excluding the Super Bowl year, he's had a sack and a half in 4 playoff games. So, and there's a lot of injuries piling up. So I think Von Miller's on the edge.
Cam Newton.
Not close. Worst completion percentage in the NFL since he entered the league. Now, he was a transformative player and a unique player, but a lot of injuries, never had back-to-back winning seasons, really inefficient in terms of throwing the football. I think he's a star. He's commercials, endorsements, he's a star, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Ben Roethlisberger.
First ballot Hall of Famer, 18th year. He only needs 1,000 more passing yards to pass Marino for the most passing yards by a quarterback who spent his entire career with one team. So I've got my issues with Ben, but I think he's one of the most uniquely gifted quarterbacks I've ever seen, the greatest pump fake quarterback I've ever seen. It's interesting. We all talk about, his off seasons. He doesn't work out hard. Doesn't it tell you how great he is?
Uh-huh.
That he doesn't work out hard in the off season, and he's been that successful. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Matt Ryan.
Very close. I'd say Cant out. Now, he's got, over the last 10 years, no quarterback has accumulated more passing yards in games they lost. So Matt's not winning enough to me to be a Hall of Famer. That Super Bowl win may have been the difference, but right now I need more wins and more quality seasons. I do think Arthur Smith is really, really good for Matt Ryan. I think he's going to end his career with Arthur Smith and put together, he has a chance for it. Because I think if Brady retires and he's still playing for 2 or 3 years, Matt is still in the running. The next 3 years will decide it.
J.J. Watt.
I've had my criticisms, but he's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to Canton. There's no doubt about it. He was a unique force. He's had some injuries, but in his prime, I mean, he was the only defensive lineman I can remember getting interceptions, getting touchdowns. I don't think he's as good as Aaron Donald, but he was so dynamic for about a 5-year period, and I think to me, he feels like a Hall of Famer.
That's it.
Sure. But I say when I say Mahomes isn't, what I'm saying basically is, can we give respect to the Hall of Fame? Mm-hmm. This is the shrine. It can't just be you're great with an MVP. I mean, if you go look, there's only one baseball player ever that's in the Hall of Fame that didn't play very long, Sandy Koufax. Now, Koufax is considered unhittable. You know, there's the old joke about, Frank Robinson's a legendary baseball player, and somebody was talking to Frank Robinson once, and they were asking him about all the pitchers he's faced, all the great pitchers. He was like, it's pretty good, this. And they mentioned Sandy Koufax, and Frank Robinson said, oh, yeah, nobody hit Sandy Koufax. Yeah, nobody hit him. So Koufax is the only baseball Hall of Famer. He didn't play very long, but he was so dominant. So you could make the argument with Mahomes, had he won the Super Bowl back-to-back, then you get into a space where it's like, I mean, he's 3-year starter, but I do think here, in year 4, if he lights the league up, which I think he'll do, if he stays healthy, I think he will, and if they win the Super Bowl, they're certainly in a small group of teams that could, then I think we can have the discussions. But we tend to do this. You know, Marino got to a Super Bowl, we thought he was going to win 8. Aaron won a Super Bowl, we thought he was going to win 6. It's hard. This game is hard. Basketball players don't get tackled. Baseball players don't get tackled. Soccer players act like they get tackled, they don't get tackled. We tackle our quarterbacks. They get hurt. And offensive lines, cap space, do you have the right coordinator? This game practice is hard in football. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.